And now back to authors, writers, books, and beyond.
Hi, welcome back to the third segment of the December Authors, Writers, Books, and Beyond show. If you were wondering what that beyond part is, it's whatever I want to make it. And I have done it a few times. It's fun, actually. But we're more bookie-oriented today. We're more books-oriented and more very much with the publishing aspect of it and the book itself. So we're going to go next to the left of me here with Sarah Armstrong Garner. And as I told you before, she also works behind the camera here at the station, and she's a stage and screenwriter also. And I had the pleasure of being part of the beginning, the very first chapter of this, from the very beginning with John, who wrote this book.
Amazing book.
And then Gwen, some of you in the area may know Gwen Clayton. She was Gwen Bodan then. Yeah. And so Sarah is going to take you through her journey. Take it away.
Well, my big news is my book is getting published.
Yay!
And I'm so excited. It's such a long process that it's finally happening, and I'm jumping up in joy and jumping inside.
You can jump if you want.
I know. I'm pretty
well, Tom might not right now.
I'll wait until commercial. But yeah, so do you want me to show the cover now? Because I'm so
start with the cover. Yeah. Let me move your cup, okay?
Oh yeah. So dun dun dun. There's the cover.
It's so beautiful.
And we also have a digital of it. But I was amazed when the artist, when the publisher was like, "Here's your book cover. What do you think?" And it was the very, third draft of what this digital artist did, and it was amazing. No, I was blown away. I was like, this is everything that I saw, because it's based off of one scene in the book that I really wanted. And I talked to my editor, and I'm like, I really want this scene of her sinking, because the whole book starts with her sinking. Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you anymore, but yeah. And so
tell them their working title.
It's Sinking.
But the first one.
Yeah, Sinking, Drifting, and Rising.
But I want them to understand that we don't always start with that final title.
No, yeah. The first one was From the Sea.
Yeah.
There you go, From the Sea trilogy, and it was too rhymey. And then I'm like, it's a trilogy, and then I'm like, what is the second book going to be called? And so I'm like, I don't know. And so I came up with Sinking, Drifting, Rising, and then I took it to the editors, and editors threw around different titles and things like that, and nothing kind of fit. And then they went back to Sinking, Drifting, Rising, because the whole story, it takes place around that, and the development of the main character, kind of relates to the titles, yes. which is really fun, and I'm glad they kept it. So,
which is rare, by the way, out there in TV land. That doesn't always happen, so that's wonderful.
I was very excited. But
we'll tell them a little bit about what you can about the story.
Yeah. It's about a woman that washes on the shore of Ireland in the 18th century with no memory of who or what she is. So it's a young adult fantasy, and she gets to go on a boat, and there's some sea creatures that you aren't really expecting. So I'm very excited.
A little mystery there. And just a point of interest, John, who was in the critique group, he lived in Sweden, but he worked in Ireland.
Mm-hmm. And that was amazing input, because I've never been to Ireland. I've always wanted, and hopefully I do. But him reading it and having this aspect of actually being there, it made the book so much more alive than just on paper. And he was such a great help.
Yeah, things like that just kind of work out nice, don't they?
They do, yeah. You never know who's going to have some kind of great input. Mm-hmm. And so groups are fantastic.
Do you mind sharing when your idea kind of first sparked in?
Yeah, it was kind of a hard time, because it was when my mom had passed away, and it was right afterwards. And I was visiting a friend in North Carolina, and it was 2 weeks after, and it was at that moment where it's just, you just kind of want to escape reality. And I've always been very driven with story, because I went to film school, and you're kind of trained to think, what's your next story? Because you can't just have one in a hat. And I wanted something completely different. I didn't want drama. I wanted something that was fun and just to escape. And then I kind of came up with this fantasy, and I was going to start off as a screenplay, and then I started doing that. I'm like, it doesn't work, because it's such an elaborate story that I'm like, okay, I'm going to see what it's like as a novel. And then I started writing it, and it was strictly just to write and kind of get everything out, and then convert to a stage or a screenplay, because that's what I knew. And then I started writing the novel, and I'm like, hey, this is actually better as a novel than a screenplay. We can work on that later. And then I found Kathy when we moved back to the county, and I'm like, I need help. I can't do this on my own. I need someone that knows what they're doing.
And accountability is huge, isn't it?
Huge,
because
especially.
otherwise we put it in a file and close the drawer.
And you never get it done. I mean, you need that chapter to chapter.
And that discipline of meeting either bi-weekly, we meet bi-weekly or weekly.
Yeah, and that trust.
The trust is huge because you're trusting someone with your baby.
Yeah, it's part of you. It really is. And that, I mean, it's hard to let yourself be critiqued because that's what you're doing. You're saying, here's a part of me, look it over, see what you like and what you don't like. And once you have that trust, because that trust is you don't want to take something from someone and be like, that doesn't work, but they know what they're saying. When you trust that person, you're able to look at it and be like, they know me, and they know my writing. It's not just someone putting their ego in.
And two things I want to ask you specifically for working through it with you. One, I felt having John, a male voice, was huge. I think it's harder to have an all-female group.
Yes, I agree.
And he's hard to replace. Did you hear that, John? He's just really hard to replace. Not just because he worked and lived in Ireland, but
he was just fantastic.
He had points of view that none of the rest of the ladies did.
I just remember one scene he read, and he took it completely different than every other one.
Oh, I remember that.
It was about the ankles. and Kathy's like, I didn't take it that way. So yeah, completely different point of view of where you're reading from.
It's a good input. And the second is, if you hadn't been in a critique group, do you think you would have followed through?
It would have taken me a lot longer than what I did. Just because, I mean, life gets so busy that with a critique group, that becomes a routine. You have to have it done by then. And if you don't, then you have nothing, and then you feel like you wasted all that time.
Yeah.
But when you're at home, you're like, I can put that off. I have something else more important. And then all of a sudden you get to your deadline, you're like, oh, I gotta rush. And then you don't come up with anything good when you're in that state of mind.
And you wrote this book between Elijah and Eliana. So between having two babies.
Yep, two babies and another child at home.
And an older.
She was a baby at the point. She was 2 when we started, but yeah, now she's not.
Now she's not. I think too something about the concept of your story, because it is a trilogy. You said that, right? I don't want to give away too much.
It's a trilogy.
And so in the second and the third book, which you wrote in your head first, right?
It's been rewritten. Like, the concept has changed, because once those characters get on page, it's like they write themselves. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have this beautiful outline, and then 4 chapters later, you're like, my outline doesn't work now because my characters have taken it completely different. But as of now, yes, I have the second and the third book written in my head, but it'll probably be thrown out the window once those characters get going. And I'm started on the second book right now, and it's going. And again, the outline, I'm seeing it just kind of dwindling away. I'm like, oh no.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I think when we let the characters write the story, it becomes a better story.
It does.
Because the author gets out of the way.
And you read it. You're reading it as it's happening. You're sitting there going, oh, I didn't know this was going to happen. Keep telling me. And then all of a sudden you got this chapter that's more exciting than what you thought. And I love it when the characters take over.
Well, we'll keep talking, but I don't want you not to give out any information you want to share.
Yeah. I have my website, which is SarahArmstrongGarner.com. And I have my Facebook page, which is also Sarah Armstrong Garner, author. But here's my website up here. And eventually we're kind of running through some stuff, but you'll be able to pre-order the novel from there, and you'll also be able to order it. And my events and book signings will all be on there, and then also on Facebook and Twitter. So you kind of can see what's happening as my journey.
And can you give me your Twitter, because that's a little different? Is it Sarah Twyla?
It's Sarah Garner, so it's just shortened
version.
And you can get through that through the website. And then the novel's coming out February 23rd.
That's your release date.
That's my release date, yeah. And then you can pre-order it in January, at the end of January.
And then that is a softcover and ebook simultaneous release. And then the cost of the softcover is
$12.99.
Okay, and the ebook?
$4.99, but they're going to have a special of $2.99 during the Facebook launch party, which anyone can come on.
And that's
February.
pre-order?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that would be after the release date.
Oh,
So that
okay.
would be February 25th. So it will go straight to you once you order it.
And the pre-order cost is $2.99.
The Facebook party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facebook launch party $2.99. Special pre-orders Facebook lunch party, it will go from $4.99 to $2.99. And you want to write that date down real quick, February 25th, and you can join on her Facebook page. That's how you can find all of us. We're all on Facebook.
Facebook is a very good tool.
But her local launch is February 23rd.
Yes, 23rd, February 23rd.
And you'll announce the venue.
Yes.
One more thing, let's see. Oh, I want to repeat that because this is very important. Available for pre-orders at the end of January. So you don't have to wait if you're
Nope.
really interested.
And hopefully you are, because
Yeah.
it's so exciting.
Can you show that one more time?
Of course, of
'Cause
course.
it's nice big giants.
Here's a mat and
And I'm just going to point out, oh, what is this here, people? So, you have a reason to come back and learn a little bit more. You're going to hear from Jessica, and she has a lot to share. She's also working on YA fantasy. That is an amazing story. I think you will find, let me see, how should I put it without revealing too much? It's different than Sarah's, but really creative. They're both very creative concepts. So come back and join us, and we'll have some more fun.